Materials in your soil experiment kit include 1 clear mixing container, 4 test tubes, 2 clear pipettes, 2 popsicle sticks for mixing, 2 8-ounce water bottles, 1 soil sample from Farmamerica, 1 tablespoon scoop, and 4 soil test capsules that color correspond to the soil color test chart. You'll want to label your test tubes with the tests that you will be completing today, including nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and pH. Next, you're going to want to prepare a soil-water mixture that you will be using for the nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus tests. You can do this by adding 3 scoops of soil to the mixing container. When you're finished, add 1 entire bottle of water. Then take 1 of the popsicle sticks, gently stirring it before setting it aside, attaching the lid to the container, and mixing the container for about 1 minute. Set your soil-water mixture aside while you wait for the contents to settle. Note that not all of the soil will settle to the bottom, and that's okay. You'll want a clean working space so that you have plenty of room to use the materials in front of you. Start with the pH test tube. This test is a little bit different from the rest. You're going to fill the pH test tube to about the 3 milliliter mark with a soil sample. Once you have enough soil in your test tube, you will want to set it aside or hand it to a friend. Locate the green capsule. Carefully add the contents of the capsule to the test tube containing your soil sample. You can do this either by carefully separating the 2 halves or gently cutting the end of the capsule off and pouring the powder into the test tube. We are only adding the contents of the capsules to each test tube, so when you are finished adding the powder to the test tube, dispose of the green gelatin casing safely in one of your classroom's trash bins. Now you're going to carefully add water from the remaining water bottle using a clean pipette. Add water to the test tube until it reaches about the 14 milliliter line. Once the water has reached the 14 milliliter line, reattach the cap to the test tube. Make sure the cap is screwed on very tightly and shake the test tube combining the powder, soil, and water mixture. Place the test tube on its lid, allowing the soil to settle and the color to develop for about 1 minute. While the color develops, you can complete the remaining soil tests. Start by selecting a test tube and the matching color capsule. For these tests, we will only be using the water from the soil-water mixture that we created earlier. Using a clean pipette, take your test tube and draw out only water from the mixture that we created earlier. Fill the test tube to about the 14 milliliter line. Once the water reaches the 14 milliliter line of the test tube, set the pipette aside to be used in the remaining experiments. Locate the capsule that corresponds to the label on the test tube. You may want a friend's help for this. Have them hold the test tube while you carefully add the contents of the capsule. Reattach the lid and shake the mixture before setting the test tube back on its lid. Allow the color to develop while you repeat these steps for the remaining tests. Once you've prepared all of the tests, allow the color to develop for about 5 minutes. After about 5 to 10 minutes, and once all of the test tubes have been processed, compare the colors to those on the soil test color chart to find a match. Then, use the corn and soybean icons to compare your soil sample to the ideal nutrient levels that corn and soybeans need to thrive. Use this chart in your test tubes to complete the student data analysis worksheet. If you enjoyed this activity, remember to complete the student survey or share your findings with us on our Flipgrid account.